Hey guys, welcome back. It's Mario Vegas and you are watching Tank Zone. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then it is the right time to do that. Today we will take a look at another very important part of any modern tank game, and it is ammunition, its different types, and most important, how to use them properly. When I started to play tank games some 10 years ago, 99% of the time I used AP ammunition, and back then I was scared to swap ammunition to lose, in my opinion, precious time, but eventually it turned out that I lost only edge in the tank duels. Believe me, right ammunition in your vehicle's breech has a great deal and very often determines the outcome of a seemingly simple situation and can turn victory into defeat either for you or your opponent. Therefore, today we will take a look at different ammunition types and the proper ways and situations when to use them to increase your gameplay performance. For visualization purpose, I will use my Armored Warfare game account interface, but it doesn't matter which game you are playing, World of Tanks, Armored Warfare, War Thunder, or actually any other. Ammunition types and their mechanics will stay pretty much the same in any of those and games alike. In the real world, there are many different ammunition types, each with its own designation and purpose. Some of them are close to universal, some of them are designed to deal with very specific target types. In any of the mentioned games, you will encounter numerous types of ammunition, which will make you decide which ammunition type to choose, load in your vehicle, and most important, which of them to use during the battle and which is the most suitable for a certain vehicle type and situation. So, therefore, today we will make all things regarding ammunition types clear once and for all. We will look at each ammunition type, we will understand how it works, for which target type it suits most, and we will find out the best ways to use it. So, shall we start? Let's start with the ammunition type that can be found on most of the vehicles. It is armor-piercing round, or AP for short. AP is a standard, most often used and quite universal type of ammo. It has good penetration and deals a high amount of damage. This ammunition type usually has the highest accuracy and muzzle velocity among all types of ammunition. So, if it is so universal and great, why not to load full with AP and blaze the field? Well, because as all coins in the world have two sides, any ammunition type has its pros and cons as well. Armor-piercing ammunition penetration capabilities depletes with the distance and armor thickness. Most AP shells start to lose penetration values at around 150 meters distance and above, and most AP shells will ricochet off opponent's arm at 67 degrees angle or above. Exception would be very thin armor, which will be penetrated by large caliber shell, even if the shell would impact under very sharp angle. But nevertheless, AP is a great universal type of ammo that is suitable in situations when you must rely on good kinetic penetration and projectiles velocity. It will be very suitable in cases if you must penetrate the thick armor of main battle tanks. Its suitability will increase even more in cases if you must deal with main battle tanks reinforced with explosive reactive armor, or ERA for short. ERA basically is an explosive charges sheet placed on the original tank's armor, therefore making it counter-explode when projectile hits it. That way decreasing heat and HE shell's effectiveness. So therefore, in case you have AP, heat and HE shell arsenal and must deal with the main battle tank reinforced with the ERA, no doubt for that. Load AP and work with that. Another situation when to use AP instead of other ammunition is when you must deal with moving targets in distance, especially if those targets move fast. In this case, we try to exploit high muzzle velocity properties of the AP round to decrease projectiles' flight time, aim lead, and therefore increasing our accuracy. However, if you consider yourself good at leading the aim, and if you are confident that the target will not disappear behind obstacle while your projectile will be in the air, then you may consider using heat, which penetration properties will not decrease with the distance. Well, armor piercing itself has quite few different subtypes and an interesting historical development. It is an interesting topic which I think could be addressed in a separate Tank Zone video episode, but today let's move on with the next ammo type. Our next stop is high explosive anti-tank ammunition, or heat. Its penetration properties are based on focused chemical reaction of a charge. Therefore, as I already mentioned, heat does not lose its penetration potential over distance. In general, heat shell usually have greater damage values than AP shells of the same caliber, deal increased damage to modules and crew, have a higher chance to set vehicle engines on fire, and are very effective against light armored vehicles. However, heat has lower accuracy and muzzle velocity than AP shells. It is less effective against composite armor and can be stopped by explosive reactive armor. There are some subtypes of heat. First one I like to mention is heat tandem, which can penetrate or at least lose less penetration value against targets reinforced with ERA. It is achieved due to the special design of ammunition warhead. Tandem warheads consist of two separate charges. First explosive charge detonates and destroys ERA, and then second charge tries to penetrate the actual armor plate of the tank. Another subtype of heat ammo is a high explosive anti-tank multi-purpose, which can cause small amount of damage even on non-penetrating hits, but it can be stopped by ERA. If we summarize all heat ammunition general properties, then it is very suitable to use it against light armor, like most of the light tanks, armored fighting vehicles and tank destroyers, dealing increased amounts of damages. Heat is very suitable to destroy opponents' vehicles' modules. Say if you cannot deal any other damage on well protected hull down positioned main battle tank, then if you have heat rounds, you have the opportunity to temporarily disable the opponent's vehicle's gun or other modules. Depending on the situation, heat is ammunition of choice during flanking maneuvers when chances to hit opponent's vehicle's sides and rear armor increases. Another thing, as the heat does not lose its penetration potential over a distance, it must be considered a choice number one if you must deal with distant, preferably static or slow, lightly armored targets or main battle tanks, sides armor without ERA protection. Additionally, as heat shell's penetration does not depend on kinetic properties, then it is suitable in situations when you must deal with basic sloped armor, say a side scraping situation, but again, only if the opponent's vehicle does not have ERA. For sloped armor there is designed another special type of ammunition which we will review next, and it is high explosive or HE shells. This type of ammunition has very low penetration capabilities, but it can still deal reduced amount of damage even with non-penetrating hits, destroying explosive reactive armor, opponent's vehicles modules, and inflicting injuries to the crew. In situations when HE penetrates, it causes very high damages to the vehicle. High explosive shells have lower muzzle velocity and accuracy than AP and heat. Main purpose of the HE ammunition is dealing increased damages on lightly armored vehicles like armored trucks, ATVs or tank destroyers, mostly at a close or medium range. However, it can be effectively used in long range as well if you must deal with the static targets. And due to its low velocity and the slightly bent trajectory of the HE round, it is suitable for situations when you may try to get enemy vehicle that hides behind the mound, roll over or uneven terrain just in the right place to cross your projectile's trajectory. High explosive ammunition has some subclasses as well, like high explosive squash head shells and high explosive plastic. These shells are specially designed and may be suitable to deal with sloped or angled armor, which is difficult to penetrate with AP, which tend to ricochet due to high angle of impact. Additionally, these types of shell increase the chance of setting vehicle's engine on fire. To summarize and better remember all what we reviewed today, let's take a look at 6 standard situations. Situation number 1. Close main battle tank encounter. Close combat. Go for AP fast. If it works, and it should work most of the time if you target tank's lower plate or in other words belly. So if it works, then continue with AP. If it does not penetrate target, swap to heat and look for weak spots. If you have found one, work on that spot to deal damage. If you cannot find any reasonable weak spots in opponent's armor, use loaded heat round to destroy opponent's vehicle's module and straight away load HE. From that point, if you have no other targets, your mission is to harass opponent tank, dealing reduced amount of damages, destroying modules and not letting the enemy to relax while your allies will finish it. Situation number 2. You must deal with distant target. If the target is fast moving, go for AP. You will have to apply a small aim lead and will increase the chance to hit the target. If the target is slow moving, static, has no ERA, and especially if it is lightly armored, load heat to increase your chances to deal increased damage or even set it on fire. If the target is slow, lightly armored, and it is just behind the mount crest, you may consider to swap ammo to high explosive plastic or high explosive squash head to try to get them behind the cover. It is tricky and takes some time before you get to the result, but once you do it, you will feel like a magician. Situation number 3. Close encounter with lightly armored vehicles. No doubt for that. Load heat or HE to wreck those vehicles faster. And situation number 4, if you are an active flanker, then probably you mostly will use AP for fast, precise and universal shots, or heat for lighter opponents, or in situations when you would like to surprise main battle tanks from the side or rear, blowing away reasonable part of their vehicle's health. Situation number 5, you have deal with a heavy armored beast like, for example, Challenger, Omekawa, or actually any other well protected main battle tank, well, depending on the tier, that has very little hit points left, but you cannot penetrate the target with your AP or heat rounds. So load HE and blow away what's left of the tank, because HE shells can deal reduced amount of damage even without penetration. Situation number 6, you are dealing with armor which is hiding just behind a corner or any other cover, and you cannot get it at all. Load HE shells again and aim next to that target belly or rear part and try to use the splash effect. Use of splash effect is effective in other situations as well. For example, when you are positioned on the slope that you cannot penetrate opponent's weak spots at all. In this case again, load HE and try to hit ground on the opponent's tank's lower plate, or in other words belly, and you may be surprised of the outcome. As a last thing in this episode, I would like to encourage you to load your vehicle with different ammo types and not to be scared to sacrifice a couple of seconds to swap between ammunition types and pick the right one to use depending on the situation. That would be all for today. I hope that you really enjoyed this video and got something interesting or useful. That is not the last and not only video about ammunition. We have not covered missiles and autocannons, plus there are many other nuances regarding ammunition types, their modification, historical development, which we may look at in the future, and maybe some of you will suggest a particular topic. Who knows? I really appreciate your comments, your opinion, questions, suggestions, discussion, and even criticism is very welcome. So go ahead and leave your comment. If you like this video, as always, smash thumbs up button, hit the bell and subscribe. Thank you for watching and following Tank Zone. Have a wonderful day and see you next time.